Welcome to the CiconePrince.com show starring your man, Cicone Prince. Cicone is an international recognized motivational speaker that focuses on personal development and leadership development. He does this through thought-provoking keynotes, life-changing books, and powerful group coaching sessions. Cicone is a transformational speaker, award-winning author, editor of a globally read online magazine, and conference host. Please welcome your host, Cicone Prince.
Welcome to the CiconePrince.com show. I'm your host, Cicone Prince. And I am super excited because this episode here is going to make sure that you learn how to do things just a little different. That you're not always the same, but you're just a little different. So many people want to fit in when, quite frankly, they were made to stand out. I mean, all of us have something that we can offer the world. There are things that we can do. But are we making sure that we are standing out, or that we are a standout in our arena? I mean, there's so many people that do motivational speaking. But I know for a fact that my passion and my persistence, my consistency sets me apart. So when people hear my name, when they hear that I'm going to be speaking, they know what they're going to get. Something on personal development and something on leadership development. Because I tell people all the time, you can't lead others until you learn how to lead yourself. Once you learn how to lead yourself, the next logical step is to help lead others, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing even with this show. Helping you to understand that you too can make a difference in the world in which you've been called to live and the people you've been called to serve. So don't take for granted whatever it is you're able to do. You may say, well, it's not as big as what someone else does. Well, that's not even important. Your focus is on being a better version of yourself. Because in doing so, you can make a difference to those people that are dependent on you. Think about any major athlete. They have actually put in so much work in order for them to actually get to that pro level. They started when they were a child or a young person. And how many free games did they play before they made it to the pros? How many practices did they go through? How many skills did they learn before they got to the big time? Well, that's what you and I have to do. So many of us, we sit and we see people that seem like they were an overnight success, but Kevin Hart said it best. It took him 18 years to become an overnight success. And you have to put in the work. Because if you don't, once you get there, you're going to say, I don't belong here because I haven't done what's necessary to stay here. But if you put in the work, you don't have any problem stepping up and stepping into the role that you've been called to actually be in. And you know, I say that even for myself, because even doing this television show, I never would have accepted the offer had I not put in the work already. So I want to encourage you. I don't care what it is you do, perfect it. Pour into yourself, encourage yourself, and not just that, but actually invest in yourself, because you'll never go broke investing in yourself. So I want you to make sure that you spend the money and the time needed to become the best possible you. And see, people like me, coaches like me, we're here to help you. We're here to make sure that you are able to achieve that which you say you want to do. And so I want to make sure that you know for a fact that it's possible. It's possible for you to be better than you are right now. It's possible for you to get that job. It's possible for you to start that business. It's possible for you to lose that weight or to have that relationship. But you have to work on you. So many people are waiting for everybody else to do it. When are you going to do it? Again, it's sad that when you have somebody that's willing to pour money into you and invest in you, but you won't do it yourself. And Les Brown said, those who pay attention. And when you're paying for it, or you want to get the most out of it, you want to put in the work in order to make sure that you become the best version of yourself. So I want to encourage you, don't wait for somebody else to write a check to invest in you. Don't wait for somebody else to find a seminar or a webinar or a course or a book. That's for you. You do the research. You make the decision. And you make the investment to actually pour into yourself. And I know that there are people out there that are ready, willing, and able to help you do just that. You know why? Because I'm one of them. And listen, if you haven't considered coaching, I encourage you now. Actually, go to our website, CiconePrince.com/coaching. There you'll find a questionnaire that would actually help you understand what coaching is and why it's so important. Because again, if you look at anybody who's made any measure of success, they've had any level of success in their life, they've had a coach. They've had somebody to hold them accountable, somebody to show them things that they didn't see, somebody to make sure that they were consistent in what it is they said they wanted to do. And that's what a coach does. But that coach has to be passionate about your success. And that's who I am. I'm someone who I am as committed as you are. If you want to succeed, I'm there with you. So I want to encourage you again, go to ciconeprince.com/coaching and you can find out about our coaching program and actually see if it's a good fit. And I also want to share this with you. You know, several years ago, I did a video which I tried some new technology, something just a little different in order to make sure that I was able to stand out and stand apart from my fellow speakers. So listen, I don't want to spoil it for you. Look, check this video out, fresh out the vault. Have you ever tried something different? Hi, this is Cicone Prince with Next Level Leadership Summit, where we're leading the way. And I want to know, have you ever tried something different? I had a friend of mine fix a dish last night. It was a little spicy, needed some salt, but otherwise it was good. I actually ate it. I came home and laid down, but I woke up this morning feeling great. But I never would have felt that way if I hadn't have tried something different. And I can even tell, take a look at my tongue. It looks a little different, doesn't it? But I never would have experienced this had I not been willing to try something different. And as a leader, you need to be willing to do the same thing. You can't always lead the same. You can't always be the same person. What you need to do is learn how to go and to grow and to become a different version of yourself. Somebody once said, if you never take a step forward, you'll always be in the same spot. So in order for that to happen, you have to try something different. And don't be afraid of what people may say or think, because you never know. You may wind up feeling and looking great. So I want you to not really throw away your caution, but use it sparingly. Because in order for you to learn something, you have to try something new. This is Cicone Prince with Next Level Leadership Summit, where we're leading the way. And I want to encourage you to try something different. Hey, look, we'll talk to you later. Bye. How was that? Was that good? How was that? That was good, wasn't it? It was good? Yeah, I know.
So that's the cash flow. That was the top quadrant. The other quadrant is the tax savings. The tax saving benefits of real estate. The expenses to the property that we talked about here, those are all going to be deducted from the rental income you're showing, so you won't pay taxes on this. You're paying taxes on your cash flow. The investor expenses, I'm separating these out. Property expenses are, like I said, clearing the snow, cutting the grass. But an investor's expense could be some of your home office expense, your mileage to go drive by and see the property, part of your cell phone bill. Again, get with your tax planner and see what's acceptable. But these are more tied to the business side of it, and these are tied more to the property side of it. And that's where the benefits come in. Let's say this. Let's say you own a rental home in the same neighborhood as your parents live. When you go to visit them, aren't you also going to visit the rental property? So some of your mileage might be able to be expensed off. And that's where you start seeing some of the benefits of the real estate on just the expense side, where you have some overlap. And then the second one, the big one that people talk about, is depreciation. Even though your property is generally appreciating, the government assumes that the structure, not the land, but the structure is deteriorating over time. So they let you prorate that deterioration and subtract it from your cash flow. or what you're going to be taxed on is really what I should say. So a single family home, they'll take the value of the house and divide it by, at the time of this video, 27 and a half years. So if you had even $50,000 house, you might have an $1,800 a year write-off. And if you only made $100 a month in cash flow, well, on paper, you're making a negative number, even though you really put that $1,200 in your bank. So those are some of the legitimate depreciations. It's also on the Schedule E, on the 1040 Schedule E, that you can see when you discuss it with your CPA. So just to talk about this some more, one of the big things that cash flow is so important for is because cash flow is going to make sure you can pay your debt down. Because if you don't get a property that cash flows, you've got to feed this thing, and it becomes an alligator. Because if you don't have cash flow to feed it, it's coming out of your pocket. So cash flow also gives you a safety factor if you think it can feed itself. That's one of the things I want you to look at. And then when you get into more commercial or larger real estate properties, the cash flow actually dictates what the property is worth. So you're actually increasing the property. That's going to impact future loans and also the sale of the property. But cash flow, if you get enough of the cash flow going from multiple properties and large properties, all of a sudden you've got a fully second income or maybe a primary income, and you're no longer dependent on just one stream of income, whether that be your W-2 job or other side hustles. So that's why cash flow gets really important when you're looking at passive income, because when you retire, I mean, Social Security is just passive income, isn't it? I mean, you did the work on the front end, and then you're collecting the income. When you set up a proper rental property, well, you created your passive income. So it's something else to look at. If I can help you with this, comment below. I'll be glad to share any of my worksheets, something to get started. And we're going to move more into what makes a good investment, even though it cash flows, because something that could cash flow if you don't pay any debt on it. Well, that doesn't mean it actually was a good idea to buy a $100,000 house that only generates $100. We're going to get into things like that. But I think the real important question to always remember is, why do this? Why are you trying to head where you're trying to head financially, as far as your financial freedom, as your supplemental income? And you always have to keep that in front of you. So if I can help you get there, that's what I want to do. Thanks for doing Deeds and Wealth with E.
Welcome back. Man, my guest today is going to be somebody that you want to get ready to take some notes from. His name is Dean Storr, and he is the owner of Dean Storr's Consulting and Training. But listen, I'm going to let him introduce himself to you. Dean?
Hey, how's everybody doing, man? I'm excited, Cicone. Thanks for having me on the show. I am jacked up. I'm floating when I heard you wanted me on here, so that was pretty good. I always introduce myself after when somebody introduces me to with my harmonica, and that kind of gets people's attention. It kind of, just kind of moves them away from judging me, what kind of suit, do I got a booger hanging out my nose, or
Right.
that kind of stuff. And so it just kind of takes that and brings everybody into a neutral place. So I'm Dean with the Dean Storr Coaching and Training Team. I've been coaching for a while, so thanks for introducing me.
All right. Well, listen, we are so excited, and that harmonica playing is pretty good. So listen, Dean, I want you to take a moment and tell the people, what are some of the things you've done to help develop yourself personally?
Okay. One of the things that years ago when I was a kid, I worked in my dad's business when I was 8 years old. And so I watched him become very successful. He started in his home. He went from there to a little tiny business downtown and to become one of the biggest retail bakeries west of the Mississippi. And so I watched him become very successful. Out of that, I had 3 different businesses that I was running after I quit working for him. And then what I realized is that I couldn't do this physical labor anymore. I knew, I was getting up there in age, and I thought to myself, but when I'm 60, 70 years old, I can't be doing this.
Right.
And so I started seeking out a coach. And through that, I got my first coach, changed my whole world. And I've been doing it ever since. And so I've been coached and trained by some of the best in the world, Bob Proctor, Paul Martinelli, John Maxwell.
Right.
Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup for the Soul, has put his stamp on my book as far as the foreword in it, along with Bob Proctor. So Les Brown, some of these guys have really changed my life. And then some of my specialties is I deal with blocks. I've overcome some really heavy blocks in my life, some really big deals, not knowing how to read, educating myself, about a third grade education. So then I taught myself how to read better. And so that's a whole story in itself. But yeah, just overcoming, I had a disability in learning and reading in school. I was stamped as having dyslexia, ADHD. I mean, I got it all, and I just said, forget about you. I'm not going to have you. I'm going to rewire myself. Right. Yeah. So I've been trained by some of the best. I've been coaching for about 15 years now. Absolutely love it.
Okay, all right. Well, it sounds to me like you did not want to stay where you were. You did not want to stay stuck. And that's important. That's important because in order for us to get to a better place, we have to fall out of love with where we are. And so I applaud you for doing just that. And you know what? I like what you said about getting a coach. You realize you were going as far as you could go on your own. And I did the same thing myself when I got a speaking coach, because I knew I had done some incredible things as far as speaking, but I knew that there was something missing and I knew I needed some help. So that is a great eye opener. But after you've learned how to, in fact, develop yourself, the next question I have for you is, so tell me, how is it that you help develop others? I know you say you have a coaching and you have a training, but how do you use that platform to help develop other people?
Yeah, that's a real nugget in itself, isn't it? To be able to help somebody move to that next level. And I guess I kind of show them what frequency they're on. If you think about a channel, a radio show, like what you got, a TV show, there's a certain frequency, there's a certain channel. Like if I go to my TV in my living room and I turn it to channel 5, right? I'm going to get channel 5. That's the channel that I'm on. That's the frequency and so one of the things is to help them find out where they're at right now. What frequency are they on? And most of it comes from your self-image. Right. And so when you begin to understand where you're at, now you can begin to move to a place where I can begin to help mold and shape you and bring you into a place where you raise that level of awareness. And when you do that, what happens is I've coached with people that saved their marriages, and I'm not a counselor, right? And they came to me because they were hungry and they wanted to develop their business, only to find out that this guy's wife had one foot out the door after 25 years of marriage. Wow. So through my coaching, all of a sudden it brought them back together. They were like giddy little school kids again, writing notes to each other and everything. And so that was really cool. I had a guy who is a chemical engineer, and his wife is an electrical engineer. He was depressed for 2 years. His wife left him. She's living in an apartment. His kids didn't want nothing to do with him. He's hanging out on the couch for 2 years. And he thought to himself, I got to try something. I got to do something. He reached out to me, right? In 6 weeks, this guy got his spring back in his step. All of a sudden, his wife, they took us out for dinner, my wife and myself. And they took us out to dinner, and his wife said, what are you doing to my husband? Totally changed him. Got his wife back, got his kids back. So from helping them dissolve the blocks, bringing marriages together, families together, developing businesses, moving them to a whole nother level in success, really comes, I think, with asking questions and then stop and listening. Because if I don't understand where you're at, I can't help you. If I'm so full of myself that I can't wait to say the next word, I need to get away from me. I need to get out of the way, basically.
Right, right.
And I think that's one of my books is communication, and that's what it's all about, is listening. Yeah.
Right, right. Well, working with individuals, sometimes it's hard for them to draw the connection between their personal life and their business life. But I tell people this. I said, no matter where you go, you're there. No matter where you go, you're there. So that same thinking you take from one relationship to the next, or one business to the next, or one job to the next. So if you never develop as a person, you can never really develop in every aspect, in every area of your life. And so many people that start off with, professional coaching and business coaching, but then they'll realize that some of the same lessons that I'm learning here can be applied in these other parts of my life. So I do applaud you for that, because I know that there are a lot of people out there that need that kind of introspective. They need someone to come alongside them and help them to understand what is really causing their biggest problem. And most of the time it's them. And as you said, it's the blocks that they have, their mental blocks, their emotional blocks, and they find themselves falling short in those areas. But someone like you can help them to dissolve those blocks by listening to them and making sure that they truly understand why they are facing what they're facing. And it kind of goes back to even my little slogan, by making motivation personal, by introducing you to yourself, because a lot of people really don't know who they are, but that's because they haven't questioned themselves. And like you said, asking the right questions and then listening for the answers. And I encourage people to question themselves as well. So I know that what you're doing is impactful and helpful, because it's changing people's lives. So let me actually look another question, I guess you say, about your training aspect. I know you talked about the coaching aspect and, things that you do with them, but what kind of training, in fact, do you offer?
Yeah, one of the things that we do is we have a speaking mastery workshop where we take people through and help them do platform speaking. One of the things that you heard me bring on the show today right off the bat was my harmonica. That's called my yo-yo, right? And so Bob Proctor, he literally played the yo-yo. He just, and he would come on stage, and there's a whole story behind that. But he developed all the walk the dog around the world and all these different things when he was a kid. And he got so good at it that every time he got on a platform, he took his yo-yo out and started doing all these tricks. Well, the whole purpose behind that is to take the judgment from the audience and derail them. Because all of a sudden this guy's coming out in a three-piece suit, they're all decked out. And these people are just, as soon as he walks on stage, man, they're judging him everywhere from Sunday to, his suit, his shoes, his smile, his hair. And so it derails that. So my harmonica. So that's one of the things that we do. The other thing is I do mastermind group on Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I've done mastermind groups for years and helped a lot of businesses go through a mastermind group. So those are just a couple of the things that I do with the training aspect of things.
Okay. All right. Great. Well, I know that there's somebody that's watching that's saying, look, listen, this guy has a wealth of knowledge and experience. I want to connect with him. I want to follow him. I want to find out more information. How would they do that?
Yeah, probably the best thing they could do is go to my website, which is deanstorecoaching.com. And once you're on the website, go to the tab. It's a contact us tab. And when you click on that, it's going to take you right to our calendar. And it's a calendar where you can put in a 15-minute coaching discovery session for free. So within 15 minutes, this is what I guarantee. In 15-minute coaching discovery session with me, I'm going to help you uncover some things that you can use in your life and your business instantly when we're done with the conversation. Guaranteed. So that's one of the areas.
Okay. All right. Well, are there any other social media posts or handles that people could follow?
Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and Instagram and all of those platforms.
Okay.
That they can connect with us out there.
Okay, well, we would definitely make sure, in fact, that we put those on the screen so people can know how that they can get in contact with you and follow you just to see exactly what you have going on. So listen, with that being said, we are going to take a quick break and we will be right back.
The wait is finally over. for Cicone's most anticipated book of the year, Leadership That Lasts, passing on 10 solid principles to ensure an enduring legacy. Powerful, effective, impactful, helpful, dynamic, phenomenal, transformative, life-changing. Available now in Amazon. Order yours today.
Man, that interview with Dean Storr was one for the record books. You know, the way he started out with this harmonica, that's a little different and a little peculiar. Which actually brings us to our final word, which can be found in 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9. It says, "But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him that hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light." You know, one of the things about the gifts and abilities that God has given us is not for us to hide them and keep them to ourselves, but we have to put them out. That's one of the things Dean did. And I mean, him starting off with the harmonica was, like I said, a little different and a little peculiar, but yet it got your attention and it helped you to be at ease so you could actually receive what he had to say. And we need to do the same. We need to find out, how can we stand out? How can we be the best version of ourselves, be a little different so that people can remember us? So with that being said, I want to make sure that you know that you can actually achieve your goals with the help of somebody like myself or Dean. And I know I'm not for everybody, and I know everybody's not for me. The same thing with Dean. But there are enough people out here that are willing, ready, and able to help you to actually achieve your goals. So you have no excuses that you don't have anybody to help you, because we are here. Hey, listen, we are so excited because next week we have a superstar of a guest, and I can't tell you who it is, but I'm telling you, you don't want to miss that show. And listen, if this show has been a blessing to you, I ask that you contribute to help it stay on the air. You can actually do that with our Cash App, which is shown right here. And for those that say, "Well, Cicone, I don't have Cash App, I don't do Cash App," fine, no problem. Here's our PayPal right here. So you can actually make a donation to help keep this show, the CiconePrince.com show, on the air. And listen, we ask that you would like and share this video. And if you're watching this online, you can actually make sure that you comment. And don't forget to call your friends and tell them about the CiconePrince.com show, where we make motivation personal by introducing you to yourself. But we don't do it alone. We have incredible guests, and you definitely want to tune in. We'll see you next week. God bless. Bye.